My DC Defenders have returned to Audi Field under Reggie Barlow's new regime in the capital city. And while there's no Cardale Jones or DeAndre Tompkins or our boy, where's he at? Cole Boozer, not playing this time around. He retired. We still have our beer snake. So there is still some tradition and some things alive from XFL 2020 in DC. Regretfully, I will not be in DC on Sunday. So I think I need to contribute my honorary cup here from Springball Boulevard. And for all of you watching from home, I know you're a Defender faithful, and I know you're going to appreciate this. So let's show you what you can do to do your part with the beer snake if you're not going to be in DC on Sunday night. Step 1. Where is it, Zook? Acquire your beer. Hopefully, a Lost Laws Pilsner, the official beer of the DC Defenders. Unfortunately, I haven't got my mitts on one yet. So this is a mystery plastic cup of beer. Step 2, this is the fun part. Let's see if that Penn State degree paid off. Guzzle that beer. And step 3, place your beer onto the snake. That is how you contribute as a DC Defender fan in Audi Field. And make sure you repeat it at least 3 or 4 times per quarter while you watch the good guys win. And that's all I got. Reggie Barlow, the new head man. Here I am dripping in beer, but we're going to get through it. Look at that thing. It's glorious in all its glory. Let's put it around the entire stadium, and let's get Reggie Barlow pounding one after the game. And let's have him put the last cup on. I won't be in DC this week, but I can't wait to get there eventually. I think we're good now. I think we're good, Zook. The former Super Bowl champ, Reggie Barlow, got his start in the SWAC at Alabama State. No experience as a pro coach yet, like I said before, but he built a solid staff here. Across from him, former NFL Coach of the Year, Jim Haslett. There he is on your screen. He was actually supposed to lead the Battlehawks in 2020, but he retired from coaching, and Jonathan Hayes ended up getting that job. So interesting nugget there. All you had to really do to get old Jimmy back was get his old buddy Randy Mueller on board, and he was all in. I think he retired for about 4 short months. Had the Tom Brady effect for Jim Haslett. But Mueller is going to help him build this roster the same way they did back in New Orleans in the early 2000s during those days. So the DC offense against the Seattle defense, what are we working with here? Well, Reggie Barlow brings his SWAC buddy Fred Keiss along to call the plays. They're going to have the task of going up against the defensive-minded Jim Haslett and his longtime colleague at defensive coordinator Ron Zook. Again, no relation to our Zook. If you know college ball, you love Ron. Who could forget those 07-08 Illinois teams with like Juice Williams and Rashard Mendenhall, and his defense had Jay Lehman, one of my favorite defensive players in college football back then. But all that's great. Here's why DC Moneyline will be a best bet for me. Little teaser there. Not because I just inhaled a beer, but because Fred Keiss, I think, is going to take a different approach than most of the coordinators in this league. And what do I mean by that? Well, Fred Keiss is going to utilize the RPO attack. And if you're wondering why there's not that many dual threat quarterbacks that we discussed yet in the XFL, it's because DC took them all. Look at this. This is rushing yards in college. De'Aaron King, over 2,000. Love to play with him on NCAA football, by the way. What an absolute stud. Eric Dungy, Syracuse, former Power 5 QB. Almost 2,000 rushing yards in college. And then Jordan Ta'amu didn't have that many yards in college, only 2 seasons, but has torn it up in every league he's been in on the ground. So I think if you really look at the DC quarterback room, honestly, I think that QB2 and QB3 in our system could start in, let's see, Orlando, San Antonio, maybe Houston. That's Vaughn Hutchins. Thank you for going out and getting all those guys. I haven't even mentioned the tailbacks. Abram Smith, he's going to have the rookie campaign in DC that Jonathan Taylor had for the Colts. Book it. This is that type of runner. 1,600 yards. He was a huge reason why Baylor won the Big 12 and the Sugar Bowl. I have no idea how Abram Smith actually didn't make an NFL roster. It's puzzling to me. Running backs like him, I think, are undervalued. But Abram Smith is the first overall pick of the XFL draft for a reason. Again, the depth showing in this room. You have Rykel Armstead and Artavis Pierce, 2 studs in college. And watch for Puka Williams out of Kansas. He's going to be kind of like the Deebo Samuel piece of this offense. I think he's questionable for week 1 with an injury. But they're going to utilize him as a swingman, both running back and receiver. The group at tight end is pretty solid. I know the wide receivers took a hit. Both wide receiver 1 and 2, I think Jazz Ferguson and KD Cannon, both out with injuries, so they're on the reserve list. But the tight end group might make up for that, led by Ethan Wolf. And again, very experienced O-line. I think probably one of the best in the league. I think Arlington on paper definitely is, but DC is going to have a good one as well. They're going to have to block my guy, Sharif Miller, coming off the edge for those Sea Dragons. But I give the edge to DC here. I think they can run to set up the deep pass. And I think Tamu's pretty accurate. They're going to hit that RPO, and they can control the clock, most importantly. Flipping sides of the ball. Seattle offense against the DC defense. The seemingly unstoppable run and shoot from June Jones is back. This time, Ben DiNucci and Josh Gordon playing PJ Walker and Cam Phillips. Will it work out the same way? Well, Gordon's going to wear number 0. And if that's his BAC, I don't know who's going to cover him. I think my BAC at this point is higher than Josh Gordon, so that's a good sign.
That's doubtful.
Thank you, Zook. The speedy TJ Hammonds is another guy to look for in this scheme. I think he's going to shine, but this scheme features 8 wide receivers and 0 tight ends. Very similar to Houston. I think Josh Gordon's going to catch a lot of double teams, so you're going to need some other guys to step up. The draft pick, Kevin Shaw, was the first overall selection for Seattle. He was cut. That was confusing to me. Why would you burn your first draft pick, Zook? I mean, that's a guy that you had to scout for months, right? That's you got your pick of the litter for all the skill position players, and they end up cutting him. Was it an injury? We don't really know. We can't say, I guess. We can't speculate. But that, either way, not great for Seattle to have to cut their first draft pick. But will it really matter when you got Josh Gordon? He's going to catch the double teams, like I said. So look for Blake Jackson. I think he's going to be reunited with June Jones, played with him back for the Roughnecks, and he could break out kind of as a wide receiver too. Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, back to inflict pain on your quarterback, Zook. He's known for injuring quarterbacks on the opposing side. Kind of an infamous guy, Greg Williams. Can't wait to see him coach again. But Davin Bellamy gives DC the edge here. I think it's a very inexperienced Seattle front, so you got to be careful. Zook, we got to come up with something. You being a Dragons fan, me being a diehard defender. What are we going to do when you lose? I got to make you wear something, or maybe I mute you for the whole show.
Yeah, well, you're losing, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, what should we do, though? Should we agree on something now?
Absolutely.
We have to do something.
We have to. 100%.
I think when you lose, you should. I'm going to have to pick something that you have to wear on the show. It could be anything.
Okay.
I'll think of it. It'll be something absolutely ridiculous. But you will have to wear whatever I tell you to wear.
Can't be more ridiculous than what you're wearing.
Well, I'm not wearing my beer. So at least that. I was afraid with wearing white today, I might wear that beer. Nonetheless, we're squeaky clean. And in the DC Defenders, white and red. So DC, we can't wait to see you on Sunday night. Wish I could be there. We will definitely get there at some point this season for the Beer Snake. We should have named this show Beer Snake Boulevard. Why didn't we do that?
I probably wouldn't have produced it.
As much as I rag on Zook, I need him. Look at that ugly thing. It reminds me of, remember the old show Dragon Tales? Like it was on like PBS Kids?
No, I don't.
A little too old for that one.
It must be. Thanks. Now we're throwing digs there too. Wonderful.
So, look at that thing. I mean, look at the beautiful DC logo with the C inside, and then look at the dragon. I don't even want you to click Mikey's pick. I'm worried.
I'm not worried. You want me to click it? I guess I
Yeah,
can.
Hit it. I think did he do this on purpose?
The jinx is in.
He did it on purpose.
The fix is in.
I need another beer. Well,
I need another beer after listening to you talk about DC this whole show.